What's going on YouTube? It's Chadalmighty, aka Just Almighty here today, and today I'm bringing the 90s back. Totally. But anyhow, do I have any 90s followers on this YouTube channel? If I got some 90s people out there watching today, go ahead and leave a comment and like in the comment section below, because, we lived in what my opinion is the greatest decade ever. Like, the 90s were awesome, washed out blue jeans and crazy mullets and rat tails and, just think about it. You think about the stuff that was on TV during the 90s. You think about Nickelodeon in the 90s. That shit was awesome. Like, kids that were born, I don't know, maybe mid to early 2000s, you don't understand the awesomeness of the 90s unless you fully lived it. Now, if you were born in, say 96, 95, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the die-hard kids that were born around the 80s, around the end of the 80s, from 85 to 89. If you were born in that range and you lived your entire life throughout the 90s, growing up and everything, you are the one that I'm talking about. You remember stuff like Rugrats and Doug and Real Monsters and Rocket Power, and there's just, the list goes on. The game shows were even awesome, and you didn't have, and MTV was real. MTV actually played music at one time. Believe it or not, MTV played music. And VH1, because see, what it was, MTV was the awesome stuff, like Limp Bizkit and Korn and Slipknot and all this other crazy nonsense. And then VH1 was more like your Celine Dion, all that stuff. Like, that was the wussy stuff over there, even though I watched it because I liked Sting and stuff, don't judge me. But everything about the 90s was just super cool. And I think one of the things that was coolest about the 90s, there wasn't like the heavy use of cell phones. In fact, cell phones were pretty much obsolete for the most part, and then internet wasn't like it was today either, so we didn't have so much connectivity, so we always hung out together. I remember just going to my friend's house and hanging out with the Sony Walkman. I'm not talking about the CD player, I'm talking about the cassette player. And for those who don't know what cassette tapes are, you're not a 90s kid or an 80s kid, that's for sure. I believe that whenever you're born, that is the best time for you. For my parents, maybe that was the 60s, the 70s, maybe even the 80s, I don't know. But everybody has a decade they prefer. Now, there are some people that weren't even born in certain decades that like other decades just because they view the culture and things like that. Maybe it's being hipster, maybe it's being legit, I don't know. But I just know that I love the 90s because that's when I grew up, and that's what I love the most. I can remember so many things about the 90s. I remember gas prices, I remember how happy everybody was, or at least seemed to be. I remember, being able to go out and do all these things, and I remember life just being so free. And the music in the 90s actually meant something. It was more about, feelings and emotion and attitude and aggression and just connecting with people than it is today, where it's just like, I just want to make money, F bitches get money. That's pretty much all it is today. And, there are some great songs that come out today, but nothing can ever top 90s music. You think about Harvey Danger, the Cranberries, Third Eye Blind. There's so many great bands that existed in the 90s and still exist today. Believe me, they're still out there. They don't make as much money or make a millionaires like you would think they would be, but they're out there. But just check out some movies and stuff from the 90s and stuff, man, and I guarantee you're going to love some of it. Now, some of the stuff from the 90s was pretty cheesy and pretty corny, and I think we'll think that same way about things here in the 2000s, in years to come as well. But overall, the 90s was an awesome time. I love it. It's very dear to me, and it is that because I lived it and I experienced it. I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to be some kind of hipster or something, but I literally love the 90s. But guys, if you agree with this commentary, if you grew up in the 90s or anything, please feel free to share any stories you might have with that. In the future, I might throw out some 90s stuff, to kind of connect with everybody and just kind of share something and just, just relive the dream, man. Like, if I was ever rich enough to open up a joint that could be totally 90s themes and make it feel like you just traveled back in time, I would do that. That's hands down what I would do if I ever became rich and famous. So, with that on your mind, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that other good stuff. But YouTube, as always, stay totally awesome.